Welcome to the Seeds of Transformation podcast with Dr. Allma Johnson. You're listening to a special segment called Transplanted, exploring the journeys of those who have received organ transplants, either simultaneously, kidney and pancreas, or singularly, heart, lung, liver. The transplant recipient journey is unique, filled with triumphs, trials, and transformation. In these periodic segments, my guest and I share real experience and faith driven encouragement to remind you that being transplanted isn't just about surviving, it's about embracing a new life. So let's walk this journey together. Welcome to Transplanted. Well, welcome, LaBaron. I'm so excited that you've chosen to join me today on the Seeds of Transformation podcast to go walk through your journey of organ transplantation. Would you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what organ you received?
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
My name is LaBaron Coleman. Everybody knows me as LB. Born and raised in Louisiana, Gibbsland to be exact, the mighty big city of Gibbsland.
Okay.
And now I reside in Dallas, Texas. I've been out here for about 15 years. I'm a graduate of Gibson Coleman High School and Southern University in Baton Rouge, 2005, 2009, consecutively. And also my transplanted organ was my kidney.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So, how did your transplant journey begin? How did you know that you needed a kidney?
So I'll just start from the beginning. Um, I started dialysis on January 18th, 2018.
Okay.
That's when I first went to the hospital, the next day, the 19th, was my first session. Actually, my first session of dialysis.
Mhm.
So that started the journey. Before that, I had been sick for a while, off and on for about 6 months. And they told me that my kidneys were bad and I needed to, stop now and start dialysis. And it would be temporary, not permanently, if I stopped then. But me being young, 31, at that time I was 30. Me being 30, I had a job that took me all across the country. I traveled for free, life of a rock star,
Okay.
ate for free, drink for free. Like I did everything that I wanted to do at that time. So I was like, no, I'm not stopping now and doing this. I'm going to keep on doing my job and living life. And this is not going to stop me. This is not going to kill me. And sure enough, during December of 2017, I stopped eating. I stopped drinking. I just got completely sick. I started tasting that metallic taste in my
Mm.
mouth. They said I would taste. And so from there, I stayed in my apartment for a month, sick, getting sicker every day, before I actually sought medical attention. And so once I made it to the hospital on the 18th, they told me that you're going to live, you're not going to die, which I thought I was in the process of dying. I
Right.
worked for a
Yeah.
home health hospice company, so I just figured I'll just be on hospice at my company,
Wow.
during this time. And they said you just need dialysis to live. And so I did the treatment the next day. It went very well. I felt so much better. And so that took a while to process because losing a kidney is grief. You're losing something in you, like a part of you. So it's kind of like it's grief. I was dealing with grief at the time, but they told me the bright spot was I'm still young, so I could get a kidney transplant sooner than later, hopefully. So that started the journey of knowing I needed a transplant. At that time, I
Wow.
didn't need dialysis for the rest of my life, which was good news, but also scary news to
Hmm.
hear. So I was scared the entire time from learning about creatinine to the bun to platelets to my hemoglobin. It was all scary to learn about, but I needed to know, but still it was scary. So to learn about I needed a transplant was super scary to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you were proactive because I hear a lot of that in your learning about the bun, BUN, and the creatinine levels and the
Mhm.
hemoglobin. All of those are so key in everyday life. And then, of
Right.
course, like it just takes it to the next level for organ transplantation. How did your faith or your mindset carry through that season?
It was nothing but God.
Yeah.
It was nothing but God. Uh, Also my family, I have a praying family. I had a praying grandmother. I have a praying mother. They definitely got me through it. My church family, my friends. You got to have friends who pray for you.
Oh, yeah.
And I had friends that prayed for me that got down and dirty with their prayers for me. But it
Yeah.
was just God that kept me through that because it was no way I could have done it on my own. Because I was feeling like God had forsaken me. God had, why me, Lord? Why me,
Mhm.
Lord? Like,
Mhm.
have I been such a bad person that this had happened to me at 31? I'm 31. I was 31 at the time when I started. My birthday is in
Mhm.
December. So I was 31, like I'm just getting started with my life, with my career. Like, why me? But it was just God that kept me. They kept my mind straight. He kept me from letting go. I
Yeah.
was go to my grave saying that because no way I could have done it on my own. Even when I didn't think I deserved to be loved or kept, he kept me, he loved me. And that's why I'm here today.
Wow. Wow. I love that part where you said he kept me going. I think that's what you said.
Mhm.
Um, so you pretty much answered my second question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How was receiving a transplant? How has that changed your perspective on life with your relationships? You're a young man, and even your purpose. Do you see any changes?
I'm definitely, I grew up religious. I grew up in a Methodist church.
Okay.
I played the piano. So I'm like a PK per,
Okay.
per se.
Okay.
So I always knew the Lord. I knew what he could do, but it wasn't until I got my transplant that I had to face him on my own.
Mm.
I never forget my auntie, my aunt Joe, who told me that one day that you're gonna have to meet with the Lord for yourself. And I met him for myself.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't my grandmother's father, my Lord. It wasn't my mama's Lord, my
Oh,
father's. It was mine. He was mine. So I
you
had to meet him
preaching
for
now.
myself. And so that changed my perspective on life of being more in touch with religion.
Yeah.
For as my relationship went, because I was young, I was still going out. I was still, drinking, going to clubs, day parties, night parties. I was there, especially when you're traveling across the country
Hmm.
at 30 in your 20s. Life can come pretty fast at you. And so
Yeah.
I had a lot of friendships I gained through that time, good and bad.
Hmm.
But once I especially got on dialysis, but once I got my kidney, I stopped doing those things. And so I lost a lot of relationships during that
Mm.
process. Because I wasn't oh, let's go drink all
Okay.
night. Let's
Okay.
go,
Okay. Okay.
I wasn't that guy anymore. So I did lose a lot of friendships on one side once I got on the right road, I would
Hmm.
say. I guess they were never my friends to begin with, but I lost a lot of relationships. And during that time, I was scared to open up in relationships because I thought in a minute I could just pass away.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because you can bleed out at any time from dialysis.
Mm.
You can get sick and never recover. I've seen it happen in my own clinic.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so I just figured, why make new relationships when they could end at any moment?
Hmm.
But once I got my transplant, then I started back making more relationships with people, just being a more vocal person
Yeah. Yeah.
since the transplant. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I remember when you said you could get sick, you could bleed out, all of those things. And we're not here to just talk about the bad and the doom and gloom of this, but
Yeah.
I remember being on dialysis, and I know this woman, she was had been there maybe a half an hour or so before it was time for my session, but she came in and then she left out the back door, and I turned around. I was like, well, why is EMS here? And then I just got a glimpse out of my left eye, and I saw the gurney, and she was complete. I turned back around. She wasn't there. She was completely covered. I
Mm.
was like, oh my gosh, did she just pass away? And
Yeah.
that is what happened. I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So I, like you, I was really getting nervous at that part, but I was like, Lord, I know you here. I know you're with
Yeah.
me. That is a promise. Um, can you describe the moment when you found out that a donor was available for you? What was that like?
Okay, so I'll go back to the beginning. So I got two calls actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
January 1st, 2022, I got a call.
Mm-hmm.
I was on vacation with my best friend in Houston,
Okay.
celebrating New Year's together.
Okay.
And I woke up. Usually I'm a hard sleeper, so nothing wakes me up. It could be storming outside. Nothing will wake me up. My first weekend of away from home at college was Katrina, because I went to school in
Hmm.
Baton Rouge. And so none of Katrina woke me up. But this phone call woke me up at 7 a.m. I never forget.
Wait,
And it
wait, you
was
said Katrina didn't wake you up?
no, Katrina didn't wake me up at all.
Oh
I
my
slept
goodness.
through it. I slept through Katrina, Rita, all the big hurricanes that came down
Oh
while I
my
was in.
goodness.
I slept through all of them.
Wow. Wow. Okay, continue
But
because that
this,
just hit me. I was like, wait a minute. You said Katrina didn't wake him up?
it didn't wake me up.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
And then the phone call woke me up, and it was a nice lady saying her name was so and so. She was from Methodist Transplant. I had a donor ready for me to, I had a kidney ready to go.
Wow.
Thank the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. My
Right, right.
prayers have been answered. I was so happy. And then I said, well, I can be there. How soon do I need to be there? And she said, right now. And I said, well, I'm in Houston right now because I
Okay.
live in Dallas.
Yes.
So that's like a 3 hour drive. I could have probably made it in two. I'm just saying.
Uh-huh,
But
uh-huh.
it's
Right,
normally a
30
three and a half
minutes.
hour drive. Yeah. And so she said, well, that's not going to be your kidney because you need to be here right now.
Wow.
And so I kind of dealt with that guilt for a while of not being accessible,
Mm-hmm.
or not being at the right place at the right time. I
Mm-hmm.
felt kind of guilty for a long time, and I would stay up all night just waiting on the phone to ring,
Wow.
to ring again. So for
Mm-hmm.
those 4 months was really tough for me, because I feel like I let everybody down. People had been praying for me to get the kidney, and fasting for me to get a kidney, and here I am in Houston having fun, not worried about, think I'm getting a call New Year's Day, New Year's
Yeah.
morning. And so fast forward to April of 2022, I just got hooked up to the machine on dialysis for my treatment. And I got a phone call from my transplant coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
During this time, though, I also left out that I had been dropped from the transplant list
Oh,
because of my insurance.
wow.
And so
Okay.
when he called, I thought he would just call and let me know that, hey, you made it back on, or you did make it back on. He called and said, I got a kidney for you. I
Wow.
said, what? I'm not
Yeah.
even on the list. How can I get a kidney? I'm not on the list. And
Uh-huh.
he said, well, Friday you made it back on the list. And this was Monday night. I mean, Tuesday night, that I got the call. And so Friday I just got put on the list, and I felt all the emotions,
Yeah.
kind of overwhelming at the time. I was happy because I got the news, more or less sad because I was surrounded by people on dialysis on the
Oh,
machines,
yeah. Yeah.
and they didn't get that call, but I got that call. So I couldn't be too happy because I didn't want them to feel any type of way or ask God why me and not them.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
kind of kept it to myself and nervous because I didn't know what tomorrow would bring or if the kidney would even be a perfect match for me. So it was just like an overwhelming feeling. I felt happy but overwhelming.
Yes. Wow. So going through your mind, yeah. Did you know the person that donated?
No, I didn't know anything. Only thing I did know that in their prior life they had a drug problem.
Okay. Okay.
They asked me, was that okay with me? And I
Yeah.
said yes, because I'm sure you wouldn't give me anything that would harm me
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
more. So I was okay with anything
Hmm.
they gave me. Like I said, I was just overwhelmed. I was happy, sad, nervous, scared, all the feelings at
Right.
once.
All of the emotions at once. Um, and along with the joy, you
Yeah,
cannot imagine the time, the wait. You can't imagine what that call is going to be like. At that time, even for me, I was answering all the calls, the spam calls, answering
yeah,
everybody, because you
yeah.
don't know where that call is well, what area code I should say is where
It's
that
coming
call is
from.
going to come from. I know you probably doing the same. So yeah, all of those emotions in your heart, your mind. I know your family was there doing what they needed to do. How long or how has going through the transplant journey? We're still on these journeys today, but
Exactly.
how has it affected your role as a man, as a young man? And what
Um,
strengths did you discover in yourself along the way?
I would say it made me a man.
Oh, okay.
Um, because I felt like up until that point I was still a boy. I was still learning my way through life.
Okay.
I hadn't quite found my purpose yet. Prior to the transplant and prior to the whole dialysis experience and then transplantation, I hadn't figured out who I was. But once I got my kidney, it's just like I don't know if I got it from the person who had it before me, or if that's something I gained with the kidney. But I became a man once I got my kidney. I had a voice. Um, For example, I crossed Phi Beta Sigma when I was in college,
Okay,
and I
okay.
wasn't, yes, I wasn't the youngest on my line, but I was the second to the youngest. But I will admit I am kind of shy, kind
Hmm.
of timid at sometimes. So a lot of my line brothers would speak up for me. If I had a battle to fight, they would fight it for me. Like I never
Wow.
had to get my hands dirty. I never had to say anything out of place.
Hmm.
Same with my family and my friends back home. Like I felt like everybody spoke for me or did things for me or made decisions not for me, but push me into the right direction
Yes, yeah.
they wanted me to go. But once I got the kidney, it's just I became a man. I could speak for myself because you had to advocate when you're not feeling good. You
Oh,
tell the doctors, "I'm not feeling." You have to advocate for yourself.
you
You
do?
can't.
Yeah.
You can't. I can't call my auntie and say, "Hey, I'm not feeling good. Can you call a doctor and tell them my head is hurting or my temperature is 100.1?" I
Yes.
had to speak up for myself because only I knew how I was feeling. And what I've learned doing this journey is everybody's experience is not the same.
No, no.
It's not. I had a friend who actually the reason I actually got the transplant on the list because I started, like I said, I started in January 2020 of January 2018.
Hmm.
We went to college together. We're from the same area. He's from Shreveport. I'm from Gippsland, which is maybe 45 minutes, apart. But he got on dialysis maybe couple months after I did,
Yes.
and he filled out for his application in Methodist, which is in Dallas. And I was like, "Oh, cool, that's great." I wasn't ready, because I said I was still grieving. 2 years later, I'm still grieving my loss of my kidney, so I wasn't ready to start another process, another journey. And when he called back and said, they called me in to do a workup, which is basically do your X-rays, your blood work to see if you'll be a good candidate for a kidney.
Hmm.
When he called and said that, I was like, if you could do it, I can do it.
Yes.
Because I went back and got my master's because my friends
Okay.
were doing it. And I said, I'm as smart or smarter than a lot of you. So if you can do it, I can do it.
Okay.
So that's the reason I actually got on the journey because he did it and he had a smooth process and I did it. But the transplantation process was different. So I've learned that even, everybody's journey is different.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, like I said, it made me speak up when I wasn't feeling good, when I needed something done, when I went to the hospitals. I had to be an advocate for myself. So
Yes.
I learned my own voice. I learned to have a voice because I
Wow.
feel like I didn't have a voice up
Hmm.
until this process came to me. And I think that was all part of God's plan for
Yes.
me to learn it this way.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I love that. And I love also that you not the fact that you were grieving, but a lot of people don't know that there is a level of grief in
exactly.
hearing that this is happening to me.
Yeah,
They don't understand that there is a time and a moment and a season and all the things that happen of even going to say, yeah, I'll get on the list. I'll do all the things I need to do. I mean, I'll get my ears checked. I'll get a foot exam. I'll get my teeth, all of the things that I've had more tests getting listed than I
yeah.
have ever in my entire life. They checked everything. People don't know about that, but I'm so glad you mentioned that about grief. Um, and then you were ready to go after that. I'm so glad that you're here. Going through this transplant journey, what message would you share with others, men, or yeah, specifically men, I'll say, that are waiting. They're on this journey of transplantation, recovering from an
Mm.
organ transplant, supporting someone who's going through. What would you say to them today?
For all three of those scenarios that you gave, I would just say the same thing to everybody. As my late grandmother Hattie Coleman would say, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to him on your own understanding, because in his ways he will make your pathway straight. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, trust in the Lord, whether you're getting ready to go through, you're going through, or are you taking care of somebody who is going through, just trust in the Lord
Mm-hmm.
and he will direct your paths. Because I'm a living witness that he will direct your paths and just trust in him. Keep the faith, trust in the Lord, and everything will come out in his timing. Not
Mm-hmm.
our timing, but his timing. Remember, I told you after I got the first call, I waited. I would stay up all night, wait on the call. It wasn't my
Yes.
time, it was God's time to when I
Yes.
got the call. Because the
Yes.
day I got the call, it was like I was a brand new person. I couldn't
Wow.
remember being sad anymore. I went to dialysis happy because that weekend prior, I had too much liquid. And, during dialysis day,
Oh,
There was
yeah.
no way to get the liquid out. They would pull the liquid out doing dialysis for you. So I
Hmm.
was happy to go because I had too much liquid and they were going to pull it out and I was going to be a brand new person when I left. So I
Mm.
went with a spirit of joy that
Yes.
day.
Yes.
And God is amazing because he just ended that session with me leaving there and going straight to the hospital. I didn't even go home. I had friends to pack my bags. I had
Yes.
friends to go get my mom.
Yes.
She wasn't driving. She's not driving in the city. So I had to go friends to go get her, bring her to the house. It was just God in the right time at the right place
Right
to make
time, right
everything come
place.
together. So I would say if you're waiting, if you're in the process now, or if you're going through, or even on dialysis, just trust in the Lord
Yes.
because in His timing, not your time, but His time,
Yes.
He would direct your paths, and make them straight.
Proverbs 3, chapter 3, verse 5. Thank you for
Yes,
saying.
ma'am.
Well,
That was my
listen,
grandmother's rest in peace. That was my grandmother's favorite
is
scripture.
it? Okay.
Yes,
Wonderful. Well, listen, I'm so excited to have you. I'm excited that you're on this journey, a new lease on life, and I know and trust in the Lord that He will continue to lead and guide you with His counsel. Psalm 73 and 24. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you.
no problem. Thank you.
Are you ready to bridge the generational gap in faith? Are you searching for real answers to bring unity between traditional Christians and millennials? Exodus to Unity: Bridging the Gap Between Traditional Christians and Millennials is the book you've been waiting for. Now available in-store and online at Barnes & Noble. And if you're in the Las Vegas area, great news! Exodus to Unity is back in stock at Blueberry Blessings Christian Bookstore, located at 1230 South Decatur Boulevard, Las Vegas, Nevada 89102. Stop by and get your copy while supplies lasts. Want more insights? Check out Dr. Allma's latest YouVersion devotional on the YouVersion Bible app and articles on Christianity.com. Don't just read about transformation. Be a part of it. Grab your copy today and let's bridge the gap together.
You've been listening to the Seed to Transformation podcast, and this was Transplanted, a special segment dedicated to the triumphs, trials, and journeys of those who have received organ transplants. These segments will come periodically as my guest and I continue to bring real stories and encouragement along the way. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs hope. And remember, stay connected, stay strong, and keep embracing this new chapter in your life. Because being transplanted isn't just about a second chance. It's about truly living your life. Until next time, stay well, stay hopeful, and keep moving forward.